Your neighbor's tomato plants are loaded with fruit. Yours had the same soil, the same sun, the same water, but now the leaves are curling, brown spots are spreading, or the fruit has a dark, soft patch at the bottom. And you have no idea why. That gap between their garden and yours often comes down to one thing. They saw the signal, and you did not. Miss it long enough, and by midsummer, all you have left is an empty stake and a bare cage. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension backs up the bigger point. Tomato plants do not fail quietly. They show you what is wrong, sign by sign, leaf by leaf, fruit by fruit. The problem is not that the plant stays silent. The problem is that most gardeners see a symptom, guess, treat the wrong cause, and turn a fixable situation into a permanent one. The fifth sign in this video is the one most gardeners notice too late. By the time you see it, you may have hours, not days. So here is what we are covering. 5 signs your tomato plant is in trouble. For each one, the real cause backed by university research, the mistake most gardeners make when they see it, and the fix you can act on that same evening. Not all 5 are emergencies. 2 of them mean your plant is probably fine. 3 of them mean waiting will cost you. Tell me in the comments what you are seeing on your plants right now. Sign number 1. Leaf curl. Looks fatal, almost never is. You walk outside one morning, and every leaf on your tomato plant is rolled up tight, edges curled inward like a closed fist. Yesterday the plant looked fine. Today it looks like something serious is happening, and your gut says to act fast. Hold on. Most gardeners see this and go straight to their phone. They type tomato leaf curl virus, and within 5 minutes they are reading about incurable diseases and staring at photos of dead gardens. Some grab a spray bottle that same afternoon. Some rip the plant out, and most of the time, they just killed a plant that had nothing wrong with it. The University of Maryland Extension lists physiological leaf roll as one of the most common tomato conditions in midsummer. It does not hurt the harvest. The plant curls its leaves to conserve moisture when it gets too hot. The soil dries unevenly, or wind strips water off the foliage faster than the roots can keep up. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension adds 2 more causes: transplant shock and any sudden jump past 85 degrees. The rolled leaves feel thicker and stiffer than normal, but they stay green. The plant keeps growing, and fruit keeps setting. That is not disease. That is a plant riding out a hard week. Now, there is a version of leaf curl that does need your attention. Tomato yellow leaf curl virus goes after the youngest leaves first, the new growth right at the top. They curl, but they also turn yellow along the edges. The plant stops gaining height. Flowers drop before setting fruit. NC State Extension confirms it spreads through whiteflies. And the difficult part is that symptoms can take 3 weeks to appear after the plant is already infected. The way to tell them apart is straightforward. If only the older, lower leaves are curled, the plant is still gaining height, and fruit is still forming. That is heat stress. It passes. If the newest leaves at the top are curling with yellow edges, and the plant has stopped growing, that is worth a closer look. What catches most people off guard is that the most alarming sign on this entire list is usually the least dangerous. Your plant is not dying. It is just uncomfortable. For stress leaf roll, the fix costs you nothing. Water evenly and deeply, 1 to 2 inches per week, at the base. Add 2 to 3 inches of mulch around the plant to cool the soil and hold moisture. Then wait. The curling fades once the heat eases or the watering gets consistent. If you think it could be virus, pull the plant, bag it, throw it in the trash. Do not compost it. Check the undersides of nearby plants for whiteflies, small white insects that fly off the moment you touch the leaf. And if you pruned hard recently, hold off. Let the plant recover first. One thing worth being honest about: 9 times out of 10, the answer to curled leaves is water and patience. That is it. The next sign on this list is harder to read. Same kind of color change shows up on the leaves, But it can point to 3 completely different problems. And if you treat the wrong one, you make it worse. Sign number 2. Yellow leaves. Same symptom, 3 different fixes. Yellow leaves on a tomato plant can mean 3 completely different things. And the fix for one will make the other 2 worse. That is what makes this sign dangerous. Not because yellow leaves kill the plant, but because the wrong response does. Most gardeners see yellow and reach for the same answer: fertilizer. They search for it. The first 5 results say, add nitrogen. So they grab a bag of all-purpose feed and work it into the soil that same weekend. Sometimes that fixes it. But sometimes the leaves keep yellowing, or the plant starts looking worse than before. And now they have spent money on a product that did not match the actual problem. Dr. Joe Masabni at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension confirms that nitrogen deficiency is the single most common cause of yellow tomato leaves. But he is clear that it is only 1 out of 3. And the only way to know which one you are dealing with is to look at exactly where the yellow shows up and what the soil feels like when you touch it. Cause 1. Nitrogen. The oldest leaves at the bottom yellow first, and they yellow evenly, the whole leaf, veins and all. Nitrogen moves freely inside a tomato plant. When there is not enough to go around, the plant pulls it out of the oldest leaves and sends it to the top, where new growth needs it most. The bottom leaves go pale, then yellow, then drop. The fix is a balanced fertilizer, something like 10-20-10, or a side dress of compost worked into the top inch of soil. New growth should come in darker within 2 weeks. Cause 2. Magnesium. This one also starts at the bottom. And that is where people get confused. But if you look closer, the yellow sits between the veins, while the veins themselves stay green. That striped look has a name: interveinal chlorosis. It is the signature of low magnesium, not low nitrogen. South Dakota State University Extension flags this as one of the most common nutrient gaps in tomatoes, especially in containers, where every watering flushes minerals out of the pot. The fix? Dissolve 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt in a gallon of water and pour it at the base. Not on the foliage, at the roots. Those first 2 both start at the bottom of the plant and work their way up. If the yellow follows that path, you are looking at a feeding issue. The third one breaks that rule. Cause 3. Too much water. This one looks different from the start, and that is how you catch it. The yellowing does not climb from the bottom up. It shows up everywhere at once, top and bottom. And the plant may be drooping even though the soil is soaked. The roots are sitting in water so long they start to break down. Once that happens, the plant loses its ability to take up anything. Not nitrogen, not calcium, not magnesium. It goes hungry in the middle of a full pantry. The fix? Stop adding water. Let the soil dry. Push your finger 2 inches into the dirt near the base. If it comes up damp, leave the hose alone. I want to be straight with you on this one. A yellow leaf is not an answer. It is a question. And the whole difference between fixing the plant and making it worse comes down to reading where the yellow sits and what the soil feels like before you reach for anything. So before you buy a single product, do the finger test. Push 2 inches into the soil. Wet and heavy means water is the issue, not food. Stop there. If the soil feels normal, check the leaf. Whole leaf yellow from the bottom up, veins included. Points to nitrogen. Yellow between the veins with green veins still showing. That is magnesium. For nitrogen, 10-20-10, or compost at the base. For magnesium, Epsom salt, 1 tablespoon per gallon, poured at the roots. If you have tried a fix and the yellowing is still spreading after 2 weeks, take a soil sample to your county extension office. They run the test for you, usually under $20, and you get numbers instead of guesses. That right there changes the whole picture. Once you can read which yellow you are looking at, you stop throwing products at a symptom and start solving the actual cause. This is what this channel does, not vague advice you have already heard 10 times. The actual science behind what your plants are showing you, backed by university research, and the specific fix for each one with amounts and timing included. If that is the kind of information you have been looking for, hit subscribe so the next video like this shows up in your feed. We have 3 more signs to get through, and the last one is the reason I made this video. Sign number 3. Leaf spots. The speed tells you everything. You turn over a leaf on your tomato plant and notice brown marks that were not there last week. Some are small. Some are the size of a dime. And the first thing you need to figure out is whether you have weeks to deal with this or hours. Most gardeners see brown spots and treat them all the same. They grab a general-purpose fungicide, spray the whole plant, and hope it clears up. But brown spots on tomato leaves can come from at least 3 different diseases, and each one moves at a different speed, looks different up close, and needs a different response. Some marks are not even disease. Sun scald and herbicide drift both leave spots that look like infection but need no treatment at all. Spraying the wrong product at the wrong stage wastes money and time the plant may not have. The way to read these spots is like a timeline. Where did they start? What do they look like? How fast are they moving? Those 3 answers tell you what you are dealing with. Disease 1. Early blight. Caused by a fungus called Alternaria. It starts at the very bottom of the plant. The spots are dark brown with concentric rings, like the rings inside a cut tree stump. Clemson Extension and the Old Farmer's Almanac both flag this as the most common leaf disease in home gardens, especially once humidity rises in July. It moves slowly, weeks, not days. That pace is your advantage. Disease 2. Septoria leaf spot. Also starts at the bottom, and that is where people confuse it with early blight. But the spots are smaller, and each one has a pale gray center ringed by dark brown. You will see dozens of them peppered across a single leaf. The University of Maryland Extension describes what follows. Infected leaves dry out, curl, and drop. The plant loses its lower canopy from the bottom up, 1 leaf at a time. Disease 3. Late blight. This one breaks every rule the first 2 follow. It does not start at the bottom. It can appear anywhere on the plant. The spots are large, wet-looking, grayish-brown, and they spread fast. Days, not weeks. The University of Florida confirms that late blight can destroy an entire tomato plant within days once it takes hold. I keep coming back to this detail because it matters more than anything else in this entry. The first 2 diseases are manageable. You have time. The third one does not give you that window. If you see large wet patches moving across your plant, respond before the end of the day. For early blight and Septoria, the fix is the same. Cut the infected leaves, bag them, and throw them in the trash, not the compost. Lay mulch around the base to block soil from splashing onto the foliage when it rains. Water at the base, in the morning, never from overhead. Wipe your pruning shears between cuts with 70% isopropyl alcohol, so you do not carry spores from sick tissue to healthy leaves. For late blight, the response shifts. If more than 1/3 of the plant shows those wet patches, pull the whole thing out. Bag it, seal it, throw it away. Do not wait to see if it turns around. For all 3, the strongest long-term defense is what you have already heard twice in this video. Keep the leaves dry, water at the ground, and maintain that mulch layer. If you cleared the lowest 6 to 8 inches of branches early in the season, even better. Less leaf surface near the soil means fewer places for spores to land. Once you see this, you stop reaching for whatever bottle is closest on the shelf and start reading what the spot itself is telling you. Sign number 4. Blossom end rot. Every common fix is wrong. You pick a tomato off the vine, turn it over, and the bottom has gone dark, sunken, almost leathery. It looks ruined. You search for it online, find the name, blossom end rot, and the first 10 results tell you to add calcium. So you buy a product, work it into the soil, and wait. The next round of fruit comes out with the same dark patch. That is the trap, and almost every gardener walks straight into it. This sign catches people in 3 different ways, and all 3 lead to the wrong fix. The first trap: it looks like a disease. It is not. The University of Illinois Extension classifies blossom end rot as a physiological disorder, not a pathogen. No fungus, no bacteria, no virus. There is nothing to spray for, and no fungicide on the market will touch it. The second trap: the internet says the soil is low on calcium. In most backyard gardens, the soil has plenty of calcium. The amount in the ground is not the issue. What matters is whether that calcium is reaching the fruit. The third trap: some gardeners see the dark patch, decide the plant is done, and pull the whole thing out of the ground, but the plant is fine. The fruit that already shows the damage cannot be reversed, but the plant itself is healthy and capable of producing clean fruit from that point on. So, what is actually happening inside the plant? Calcium moves through a tomato plant with water. It gets pulled up through the roots and carried into the fruit as the plant drinks. But calcium does not redistribute on its own. It goes where the water carries it and stays there. When you soak the plant on Monday, let it dry out Tuesday through Thursday, give it a quick splash Friday, and flood it again on Saturday. That stop and start rhythm means the calcium supply to the fruit keeps breaking. The part of the fruit growing fastest, the bottom, the blossom end, the farthest point from the stem, is the first place to run short. The cells there fail. They collapse inward, and that dark, leathery mark appears. The University of Maryland Extension ties this directly to inconsistent watering and drought stress, not to a shortage in the soil, to how steadily the water moves through the plant. What still gets me about this one is how much money gets spent on it every summer. It is the most widely misread sign in home gardening, and the fix costs nothing. Do the finger test. Push 2 inches into the soil near the base before you water. If it is dry, water deeply. If it is still damp, wait. Aim for 1 to 2 inches per week and keep the rhythm steady. No skipping days in the middle. Lay mulch around the base, 2 to 3 inches, to hold moisture even between waterings. Fruit that already has the dark patch, cut the damaged section off. The rest is safe to eat. That detail alone would have saved a lot of perfectly good tomatoes. What you do not need: eggshells, calcium tablets, bone meal, or any fungicide. None of those address a watering problem. If you watched the last video on this channel about the 5 mistakes gardeners make in June, this one connects directly. Same root cause, seen from a different side. How many of you have picked a tomato, seen that dark patch on the bottom, and thrown the whole thing in the trash without knowing what it actually was? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear that story. Sign number 5. Wilting. You might only have hours. This is the one I said I would come back to. If your entire tomato plant wilts on a day that is not especially hot, and it does not recover by the next morning, stop everything else and pay attention to this sign. Because with the first 4 signs on this list, you had days, sometimes weeks. With this one, you may have hours. Most gardeners see a wilting plant and reach for the hose. If the cause is heat or dry soil, that is the right move. A thirsty plant droops in the afternoon and perks back up once the temperature drops overnight. Water it deeply. Lay mulch if you have not already, and check again at sunrise. But if you water a wilting plant and it does not recover, something else is happening inside, and adding more water at that point does not help. It feeds the exact thing that is killing the plant. There are 2 diseases that cause sudden, total wilting in tomatoes, and both move fast. The first, Fusarium wilt. The giveaway is that one side of the plant wilts before the other. Half the leaves droop while the other half still look fine. The lower leaves yellow, then turn brown, and it climbs upward over days. If you slice the main stem open near the base, you will see dark brown streaks running through the tissue inside. The University of Maryland Extension confirms this is a soil-borne fungus with no chemical treatment. Once those brown streaks are inside the stem, the plant cannot be saved. The second, Bacterial wilt, caused by Ralstonia. This one skips the warning. The whole plant goes down, sometimes in a single day, and the weather does not have to be hot for it to happen. There is a test you can do at home in under a minute. Cut a short piece of stem near the base, set it upright in a glass of clear water, and watch. If milky white threads stream out of the cut end into the water, that is bacterial wilt. Clemson Extension confirms there is no treatment. The plant needs to come out of the ground that same day. I know this entry is harder to hear than the others. Not every sign on this list ends with a fix that saves the plant. But knowing what you are looking at, even when the answer is to let go, saves the rest of your garden from going through the same thing. For heat wilt, the response is simple. Water deeply at the base, maintain your mulch, and if daytime temperatures are pushing past 95 degrees, a temporary shade cloth during the hottest hours can help. Check the plant the following morning. If it is straightened back up, it was just thirsty. No damage done. For Fusarium, pull the plant, bag it, and throw it in the trash. Do not compost it. Do not plant tomatoes in that same spot for at least 3 years. When you do replant, look for varieties marked with an F on the tag or seed packet. Celebrity, Big Beef, and Early Girl all carry Fusarium resistance. For bacterial wilt, pull the plant the day you confirm the glass test. Do not grow tomatoes, peppers, or eggplant in that location for 3 to 4 years. Wipe every tool that touched the plant with rubbing alcohol before using it on anything else. One rule covers all three. If a plant is wilting and the soil is already damp, do not add water. Check the stem first. That one decision, stopping to look before you pour, can be the difference between losing one plant and losing the row. 5 signs. 5 things your tomato plant puts out when something is going wrong inside. 2 of them you can breathe through. Leaf curl from heat stress and blossom end rot both look alarming, but neither one threatens the plant. The fix for both comes down to steady water and a little patience. Keep the rhythm even, keep the soil mulched, and give the plant time to sort itself out. 3 of them you cannot wait on. Yellow leaves spreading fast, disease spots climbing the canopy, and sudden whole plant wilt all need a response the day you see them. Every day you hold off is a day the damage moves further. With bacterial wilt or late blight, 1 day can be all it takes. 2 you can sit with, 3 you act on now. That is the whole read. And the single tool that matters most across all 5 signs is the one that costs nothing. The finger test. 2 inches into the soil before you water, before you spray, before you reach for anything. What the dirt feels like at your fingertip tells you more than any label on a bottle. Next time you walk out to your garden and notice a leaf that looks off or a fruit with a mark you have never seen, you do not need to open your phone. You do not need to scroll through 10 articles that all disagree with each other. You already know what to look for. You can read your own plants. If you want to make sure you are not creating these problems in the first place, watch the video linked right here. It covers the 5 biggest mistakes gardeners make in June, and it ties directly to everything we went through today. If someone in your life has been losing plants every summer and never understood why, send them this. It might be the thing that finally turns their season around. Tell me in the comments what your tomato plant looks like right now. Describe what you are seeing, and I will do my best to help you sort it out. If this was worth your time, hit subscribe so the next one finds you. Now step outside and take a look.